In a surprising turn of events, the Ethiopian National Bank has fallen prey to a massive cyber attack. This shocking revelation unfolded in the early hours of the day as the financial institution found itself at the mercy of unseen adversaries. A digital heist of this magnitude, in the heart of Ethiopia, has sent shockwaves around the globe, raising questions about the security of our financial infrastructures. As the world watches, we're left to wonder, how did this happen? And more importantly, what happens next? Stay tuned as we delve into the timeline of events that led to this unprecedented incident. The first signs of the cyber attack were detected in the early hours of March 24, 2024. The Ethiopian National Bank, a fortress of financial transactions and data, discovered an anomaly in its cybersecurity systems. It was the proverbial drop of ink in a glass of water, subtle, but indicative of an impending storm. The bank's advanced cybersecurity measures designed to identify and neutralize threats flagged unusual activities. These were not your run-of-the-mill glitches or routine system hiccups. No, these were intentional, calculated moves made by entities that understood the digital landscape of the bank's security infrastructure. Imagine a lock being picked, the intruder carefully maneuvering each pin, each tiny component, with a meticulous precision that betrays a deep understanding of the system. That's what was happening in the vast digital expanse of the bank's security systems. The hackers were probing, poking and prodding, seeking a chink in the armor, a weak spot to exploit. The bank's initial response was swift. Security protocols were activated, digital walls reinforced, and a team of cybersecurity experts was assembled to tackle the threat. It was a race against time, a high-stakes game of digital chess. Every move mattered. Every decision had the potential to either safeguard the bank's assets or expose them to further risk. Yet, as the bank grappled with the initial breach, the hackers were not sitting idle. They were learning, adapting, and laying the groundwork for a much larger attack. What started as a simple probe had escalated into a full-fledged assault on the bank's digital fortress. The first breach was just the beginning, the opening salvo in a sophisticated cyber warfare. The bank was under attack, and the battle had just begun. As the bank grappled with the initial breach, the hackers were laying the groundwork for a much larger attack. While the bank struggled to contain the initial breach, the hackers were already preparing for phase 2. With the initial barriers down, the intruders began to extend their reach. They started to move laterally, infiltrating other systems, spreading like a virus throughout the bank's digital infrastructure. They weren't just inside the walls anymore. They were creeping into every corner, every crevice of the bank's network. The hackers were smart, cunning. They knew what they were doing. They employed advanced techniques to cover their tracks, making it difficult for the bank's cybersecurity team to figure out where the attack was coming from, let alone how to stop it. Meanwhile, the bank was scrambling. They brought in external cybersecurity experts, attempting to patch up their defenses and isolate the breach. They quickly set up a cyber incident response team, working round the clock to identify and neutralize the threats. But it was like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. The hackers were elusive, always one step ahead. They began to siphon off funds, small amounts at first, then larger ones. The bank's worst nightmare was coming true. As the bank's systems were being compromised, they had to make difficult decisions. They had to shut down some of their services, causing inconvenience to their customers. But it was a necessary sacrifice. They needed to protect the rest of the bank and ensure the safety of their clients' confidential information. The situation was dire, but the bank was not going down without a fight. They ramped up their efforts, implementing stringent security measures, doubling down on their attempts to locate and expel the invaders. This wasn't just a battle of technology, it was a battle of wits, a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. The bank was doing everything it could to fend off the attackers, but the hackers were relentless, and the attack was escalating. As the attack escalated, the bank found itself in a race against time to protect its assets and clients' confidential information. In the aftermath of the attack, the bank scrambled to assess the damage and reassure its customers. The clock was ticking, and the stakes were high. The Ethiopian National Bank, a beacon of financial stability in the region, was now facing one of its darkest hours. After the initial shock, the bank sprang into action. A team of cybersecurity experts was immediately assembled. Their task was twofold: to assess the extent of the breach and to implement measures to prevent a repeat attack. This was a Herculean task, but one that was necessary for the bank's survival. The bank's customers were understandably anxious. Their financial security was potentially at risk. In response, the bank issued a statement, assuring customers that their funds were safe and that every effort was being made to rectify the situation. This was a critical move to maintain trust and confidence in the bank. Meanwhile, the bank's IT team worked tirelessly to strengthen the bank's cybersecurity infrastructure. They implemented advanced security measures, including multi-factor authentication, end-to-end encryption, and regular security audits. The objective was clear: to build a digital fortress that would be impervious to future cyber attacks. The impact on the bank was significant, but it was also a wake-up call. It highlighted the importance of robust cybersecurity measures in today's digital age. The bank learned the hard way that cybersecurity was not just an IT issue, but a business survival issue. The attack on the Ethiopian National Bank was not just a blow to the bank, but to the entire financial sector in Ethiopia. It was a stark reminder that in the digital world, no institution is immune to cyber threats. In the face of adversity, the bank showed resilience. It took swift action to mitigate the damage and took steps to ensure such an attack would not happen again. It was a tough lesson, but one that would ultimately strengthen the bank's cybersecurity defenses. As the dust settled, it was clear that this was one of the most significant cyber attacks in history. But it was also a turning point, a moment that underscored the critical importance of cybersecurity in today's digital world. The attack on the Ethiopian National Bank serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities in our digital world. This incident compels us to look at the larger picture, the lessons learned, the precautionary steps to be taken, and the future of cybersecurity. It's a wake-up call, not just for banks in Ethiopia, but for every institution that relies on digital infrastructure. The first lesson is the critical need for robust cybersecurity measures. The breach underscores the fact that no system is impervious to cyber attacks. It's not about if an attack will happen, but when. Therefore, proactive measures, including regular system updates, penetration testing, and security audits, are no longer optional. They are a necessity. The second lesson is the importance of a rapid response. In the face of a cyber attack, time is of the essence. The ability to detect and respond to a breach swiftly can significantly limit the damage. This requires not only advanced detection tools, but also a well-drilled incident response team. Thirdly, we must acknowledge the global impact of such attacks. Cybersecurity is not a solitary game. It's a global challenge that requires international cooperation. The digital landscape transcends national borders. So too must our efforts to secure it, sharing intelligence, collaborating on best practices, and joint training exercises can enhance our collective resilience. Lastly, the incident reminds us of the human element in cybersecurity. Behind every attack, there's a human mind, exploiting human errors and targeting human vulnerabilities. Therefore, cultivating a culture of cybersecurity awareness among employees and users is equally important as investing in advanced technology. The attack also reiterates the need for continuous learning. Cyber threats are dynamic, they evolve, and so must our defenses. Staying informed about the latest threats, trends, and solutions is crucial in this never-ending game of cat and mouse. As we continue to navigate the digital age, the attack on the Ethiopian National Bank underscores the importance of vigilance, preparedness, and continuous learning in cybersecurity.